peas and carrots.
Here on YouTube, you could say that I exist in two modes. Sometimes I'm all happy-go-lucky and talk about Nintendo games I like. And sometimes I get very critical and talk about the horrors of the game industry. It's obviously not quite so simple as that, but there very much is a dichotomy at play here. There's yippee video games, Arlo, and there's woof. Video games, Arlo. And I understand that fans of the former Arlo can get a little tired of the latter Arlo. Sometimes it might feel like I'm just constantly going after these super negative topics. I get the frustration, but really I just go where the news is. I talk about whatever's going on, and sometimes that means a whole string of fun videos about cool new games. Other times that means a whole lot of talk about misguided games, capitalism, layoffs, etc. And during a time when the industry feels particularly sick, and I will admit, when we're at the end of a Nintendo generation and positive news on that front is a bit scant, it's hard not to focus on some less than pleasant stories. And today's video, I will admit, is not of the yippee, skippy, happy-go-lucky variety. It is in no way positive. This video is about making fun of a stupid game. And of course, the AAA industry at large. This is always tricky because the last thing I want to do is make anyone feel bad for liking something. And if you're into this game, just turn the video off. I beg you, just turn it off right now. Do not listen to me. I do not think poorly of you. It's fine. And in fact, I'm glad that you can enjoy things without being a cynical jerk about it, like me. But if you're also a cynical jerk, come on and join me. Welcome aboard. Pull up a chair. Let's talk about Sony's big upcoming game, Concord. Sony just hosted their big mid-year State of Play presentation, and it was not great. Things turned around a bit in the end with the reveal of a full Astrobot game, which looks absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to finally buy a second game for my PS5. Demon's Souls was getting pretty lonely on that shelf. Monster Hunter Wilds also got a new trailer, that was great. But the first 2/3 of the show were a mighty slog. And sloggiest of all was the first 10 minutes or so, essentially the first third. This was used up exclusively by one single game. Concord. This game is being developed by Sony's own Firewalk Studios, led by veterans from Bungie, which Sony bought a few years back. Funny thing is, the way they talk about it, it sounds like it's being adapted from a pre-existing IP.
Set in the vibrant sci-fi universe of the Concord galaxy.
Even on the official PlayStation blog post, there it is, set in the Concord galaxy. And my research into this Concord IP went like this. Based on the Concord galaxy. Okay, Concord. No, is it a book? Is it a book series? Tabletop, maybe? Concord galaxy. Concord galaxy. What? What? So apparently, this is not a pre-existing property. Sony's just putting the cart before the horse and advertising this one game as already existing within some grand universe. Yeah, I'm sure in their minds it's already a whole big IP with games and shows and spin-offs and merch and everything. I'm sure that's the plan. So whatever it means, this is Concord. And I've seen some schlock in my time. In fact, it seems like every other day these big companies reveal yet another bloated, generic, flashy, yet creatively bankrupt live service trend chaser. I mean, this is becoming a genre in and of itself, even beyond the basic categories that describe these games, you know what I mean? It's possible to make a good multiplayer shooter, but there's a certain flavor of mass market live service game that we've learned to spot from a mile away. And many of us could smell Concord from the opening seconds of that reveal. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I truly believe that we might be witness to the pinnacle of AAA Slop. A shining example of everything that is currently wrong with the industry. Let's look at that reveal. First, we were treated to a cinematic trailer. It is here that the tropes start coming, and they don't stop coming. Game scholars will be dissecting this trailer decades from now. Mark my words. In the future, when all movies and games are written by an AI that does literally nothing but pull from what already exists and what it's been told is good and popular by out-of-touch executives, it will be exactly like this. The whole trailer is one big scene from a Marvel movie. It's a discount Guardians of the Galaxy, a ragtag team of quirky alien outlaws who pull off ridiculous feats despite their constant dysfunctional bickering. You've got the tough-as-nails, no-nonsense girl boss who functions as the only real adult and has to essentially parent the other characters.
This wasn't the plan.
This wasn't the plan. If we don't leave with this blue light,
I'm gonna die surrounded by the biggest idiots in the galaxy.
You've got the carefree, perpetual teenager dude who always gets on her nerves. And he loves hot sauce. Ha! Don't take this guy's hot sauce away. It's the only thing he loves. Because the Saturday morning cartoon generation grew up to be early internet millennials who think loving a specific food is a whole personality. Lol, so random.
We were apart for so long.
Then you've got the big, strong, stoic guy who speaks very seriously and threatens people like an old-timey comic book villain. And you just have to laugh at the fact that he continues to hang around with these knuckleheads and get pulled into their zany antics. Oh, the comical juxtaposition.
If you let go, I swear I will be.
Oh, look, there they are.
And don't forget the obligatory robot character, whose lack of a traditional animalistic self allows him to make emotionally detached, lighthearted quips in serious situations, which are even funnier because he's very large and has no facial expressions. This contrast is similarly comical.
I'm simply going to harvest your organ. I am developing a taste for destruction. Goodbye.
It's as by the numbers as you can possibly get, entirely devoid of even a single whiff of anything resembling originality. It's a product of this media machine created by old dudes in suits, pondering, what do humans like? And instead of asking actual people, they look to what other old dudes in suits have produced. So the machine only feeds into itself, creating a never-ending feedback loop of recycled ideas that audiences don't even like anymore. But the dudes in suits go, but all the other games and movies are like this, so they must all enjoy it. So they simply continue to produce product after product after product, packed with characters straight out of a C-tier Marvel movie. Okay, hold it. You know what? I'm not being fair here. This is not the most generic game trailer in the world. It's not, no. I've got to give them credit. There is one single thing that sets Concord apart. Do you see this? Do you know what I'm saying before I say it? I'll give you a second. No undercut. You know, with the flipped over hair and the shaved side. I gotta hand it to him. She ain't got an undercut. She's still got the asymmetrical thing going on, but that under ain't cut. And at least from where I'm standing, if there is one single concept that exemplifies this corporate trend-chasing regurgitation culture media machine that acts as an emblem for every dude in a suit trying to make content for humans, I would say it's the undercut. I don't even have a problem with the cut itself. I actually think it looks pretty cool on real people. But when it comes to video games in particular, the undercut has been priority number one when creating female characters. The single most important box to tick for whatever reason. And Concord is doing without it. This trailblazing game is finally leaving it behind. Brave. Sheer bravery. Apart from that, though, that one individual thing, this trailer does absolutely nothing we haven't seen 100,000 times before. And that's just the cinematic. Okay, so you get to the end and you go, okay, so it's generic. It's trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, whatever. But what's the game really about? What kind of game is it? It's a 5v5 hero It's Overwatch. It's Overwatch. It's Overwatch, everyone. Like I said, we can smell these games coming. The second they said 5v5 hero shooter, we all knew what this was. Concord is one of those big, expensive live service games ordered up by dudes in suits. I get that video games are all commercial products. All of these companies want to make money. But you want to see at least some passion in any game. You want to see some little modicum of inspiration. But these games, they don't got none of that. We all know that Concord exists exclusively for one single reason. One, Sony saw Overwatch, and like a wealthy 5-year-old perusing the market on a gray Sunday morn in his finest waistcoat and pantaloons, they pointed and said, "Papa, I want that." Sony didn't like that everyone else had hero shooters, never mind that most of them fail, and they wanted one for themselves. They wanted in on that bag, which is exactly why Concord is this way. Of course it offers nothing of value. Of course it has nothing to say. And of course, the reception to the reveal has been less than stellar. I see plenty of people confused about the backlash, wondering what about this game in particular is so special that it's got everyone's hackles up. But that's the thing. It's not special. At all. That is precisely why this is so ridiculous. We are all better than ever at spotting this junk. Year by year, we are growing more and more tired of it. Failed game after failed game, we continue to send a very clear message to these AAA publishers that we can see right through their grift and we're not falling for it anymore. They keep chewing up and spitting out their hardworking talent, then turning around and offering us shiny garbage, and we're not having it. So every single additional game that clearly exists just to chase a trend, just to get in on something good that someone else already has, feels more and more ridiculous. And the same goes for games written like bad Marvel movies. How many more Forspokens need to exist before someone up in that tower realizes that we hate this? If your game has characters that sound like this, we will ridicule it endlessly, and it is very likely to fail. How much market research do you have to do before you learn that this is not what the market wants? After all this time, all these games, all these layoffs and closed studios, for a game this transparently cynical to be offered to us on a silver platter, with Sony giving us their biggest, brightest smile as if to say, huh? What do you think? It's a new level. Concord truly feels like the peak of trashy AAA games. This is as blatant as it gets. You cannot possibly create a product more devoid of substance, more tone-deaf and misguided. And hey, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't misguided. Some of these live service games do succeed. Maybe this one will. Personally, I'm not counting on it. Usually the ones that work have something going for them. They bring something new to the table. The most blatant cash grabs, however, don't usually fare so well. And again, that's why this is all so ridiculous. It's the most obvious self-destructive cycle that these AAA publishers seem incapable of escaping. And when games like this fail, the people that made them get fired. Studios get closed down. Publishers have to try to recoup the absurd costs of development, so everyone but them has to pay for the failure. And at no point do any of the dudes in suits realize that maybe spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a game in an attempt to shove into an already crowded market with a product that offers literally nothing unique is the problem.
Time will tell, but I don't know. Something special about this game. I think we lucky few are witnessing history here. AAA schlock has reached its shining apex. It has achieved perfection. So do you think Sony will send me a review copy of Astrobot?